I got somebody really attacking me right now. I mean, really going after me, man. I'm just waiting to see what God...
What started as a few slick comments turned into a full-blown face-off. Comedy collided with the streets, a legend standing toe-to-toe with pure rebellion.
Like, it was genuine. There are some people who have given, my dad his flowers now that he's dead, that I'm looking at like, doggone well, he wasn't doing it when he was alive. And that, not just famous people, just people all across.
What started as a few slick comments turned into a full-blown face-off. Comedy collided with the streets, a legend standing toe-to-toe with pure rebellion.
I said, why you not a movie star? I didn't want to be a movie star. This the same Negro that hated on Bernie with this same thing. You called Ocean 11 to get that nigga's part. What do you mean you didn't want to be a movie star? So on the behalf of Bernie, I would have to say what I have to say. After Bernie left, them same three guys I'm telling you about, the Kings, they came to me. I was supposed to be the fourth king. I got the offer.
Then what happened?
But I turned it down.
Why?
Because you shit on Bernie. And I know the truth. You think I'm gonna let you shit on Bernie and then come get me? I'm the next king? Fuck you. Why? Because the whole time Bernie was here, you was acting like you was funnier than him. That man was funnier than all of y'all, and y'all thought y'all had one over on him. You thought he was black and ugly, and you were good looking, and he couldn't make it because you did. And that ain't the way comedy works. The king is the funniest. Period. Every time. And that's why no audience member was ever swayed. It didn't matter where Bernie went. You think if Bernie went first, he wasn't the king? Get out.
Let's jump right into it. This whole thing started when Steve Harvey made what people are now calling a verbal threat. Not in the streets, not with his hands, but on the mic. On stage, on camera, in interviews. Steve started throwing slick, coded shots at a few rappers and comedians, warning that if anyone ever disrespected him, he'd handle it like a man. But the message wasn't as subtle as he thought.
I didn't know nothing about this concept. When the promoter told me about it in October, I shot it down, because that ain't how I've ever promoted a show. I've always been on tour with some real monsters, man. I've toured with the Kings. I've been on stage with Sid, DL, and Bernie Mac at the same time. It's always been a camaraderie. Right. You know what I mean? We're going out here to give the people the best show we can give them. And that's the way we've always promoted comedy shows. Now, to turn this into some type of little beef, that ain't got nothing to do with me. That ain't how
Everyone knew exactly who that message was for. Katt Williams and Lil Boosie. For months, Katt had been going viral for calling out Hollywood's fake smiles. He'd roasted Kevin Hart, Tiffany Haddish, Steve Harvey, basically anyone he saw as a corporate puppet. So, when Steve fired back, everybody braced for the storm. Because one thing about Katt Williams, he never bites his tongue. He doesn't fear Hollywood, networks, or big names. Like he once said, "I don't work for the industry, I work for the truth." So when Steve dropped that line about knocking out comedians who talk reckless, Katt took it real personal. He went live, straight-faced, and said, "Steve, you too old to be threatening people, man."
I ain't got nothing to say about the Katt Williams situation. I don't know about nothing about that. I know he a real nigga to me. Like I say, bro, I came home, I ain't had nothing, man. Invited me to his concert. Got me front row seat. When I was leaving, gave me $15,000. That's real. Everybody else was screaming my name, all kind of celebrity. They ain't even give me a speak. They ain't even speak to me when I came home. That man gave me $15,000. I ain't even know him, bro. That's all I could say. 9 minute celebrities was hollering free Boosie. When I saw him, they ain't even acknowledge me. They gave me $15,000. Doing that. He did that from the heart, man. He knew what I had been through, bro. The man knew what I had been through, bro. I'll never forget that. When I see him, I'm definitely gonna bless him, bro. And I keep 15, 20 in my pocket at all the time.
"You're supposed to be wise, not wild," Katt clapped back. "Don't talk about knocking me out when you couldn't even check your own barber." And just like that, boom, the internet lost its mind. But before the smoke cleared, Boosie jumped in too. He wasn't about to let Steve slide. He said, nah, this one we not letting go quiet.
No parts of this in any way, shape, form, or fashion. This is some other shit. I don't know why he came out here with all this money y'all spent on them motherfucking tickets and talked about a lady in the audience for 15 goddamn minutes. That nigga should have talked about me the way I've been to talk about his bitch man.
Everyone knew exactly who that message was for: Katt Williams and Lil Boosie. For months, Katt had been going viral for calling out Hollywood's fake smiles. He'd roasted Kevin Hart, Tiffany Haddish, Steve Harvey, basically anyone he saw as a corporate puppet. So when Steve fired back, everybody braced for the storm. Because one thing about Katt Williams, he never bites his tongue. He doesn't fear Hollywood, networks, or big names. Like he once said, I don't work for the industry, I work for the truth. So when Steve dropped that line about knocking out comedians who talk reckless, Katt took it real personal. He went live, straight-faced, and said, Steve, you too old to be threatening people, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one of the hottest young comedians in the country today. I'm telling you, he got my stamp. This cat is hot. Please put your hands together for Katt Williams.
You can't threaten what's real. And just like that, it turned into Boosie and Katt versus Steve Harvey, live for the whole internet to see. But hang on, this didn't spark out of nowhere. There's history behind it. Katt Williams has been calling out Steve for years, accusing him of selling out, stealing material, and acting like a mentor while quietly holding people back. Even back in 2018, Katt said straight up in an interview, Steve Harvey's the kind of guy who'll shake your hand and steal your punchline.
What I believe, the genuine love and respect that Katt Williams showed my father, it is so much appreciated. Much love, and mad props to Katt Williams.
Steve told you that he stopped doing stand-up because he had 7 TV shows. The only problem is when he stopped stand-up, he didn't have those 7 TV shows. He stopped stand-up because he got in a comedy battle called the Championship of Stand-Up Comedy with one Katt Williams in Detroit in front of 10,000 people and lost because Katt Williams said he was actually bald and that was a wig. And I went in and that's why he couldn't do stand-up.
Boosie and Katt go way back. Real mutual respect. They've always stood on truth, raw and unfiltered. No PR filters, no Hollywood gloss. So when Boosie saw Steve acting tough, he hit go live too. That's when things got real. Boosie said, man, Steve Harvey don't scare nobody. He a talk show host, not a street dude. You threatening comedians cause you mad folks see through your act. You Hollywood now, bro. We still real.
Sometimes the oppositions come from the most unsuspecting places. Sometimes, man, you're going to get blindsided. But you got to understand how the devil works, man. The devil is evil. He don't fight fair. This thing in life, that's not fair what they saying about me. That's not fair what they doing about me. And it wasn't fair how they did Jesus, but they did it anyway. You are not going to get away through this thing called life without opposition. But let me say this. Be careful when you hear something that's laid out to be the truth, and because the person that's telling you what they say is true is speaking eloquently, don't be deceived by that. There are some people who know how to lie so well. They know how to sprinkle in just enough truth and wrap it inside their lies where they got you thinking that somebody telling the truth. Beware of that, people. You can't be righteous and negative at the same time.
People laughed it off, but Katt wasn't joking. He's always positioned himself as the real voice of comedy, the one speaking for the streets. Steve, meanwhile, stands for corporate comedy, clean, safe, network approved. And that clash of energy has always been the tension. Bring Boosie into the mix and you're pouring fuel on the fire. Boosie isn't about Hollywood politics. He says what others won't. Lately, Steve's been everywhere, giving relationship advice, preaching morals, dropping life lessons like a TV pastor. Boosie didn't buy it. He fired back. Steve always talking like he got it all figured out. Stop acting like a pastor and be real. Steve took that as disrespect. And that's when he laid down the line that set everything off. If these little dudes keep running my name, I might have to show them how grown men handle business.
Kings of Comedy idea. It was the Def Comedy Jam reunion idea that I had initially.
Okay.
And I called a friend, Stan Layton, in LA, who was the director of all of Def Comedy Jam. He co-managed some of the talent. So I figured he could help me get Martin and bigger people like that at that time.
Right.
And we tried that for like a month or two, and he could never come up with anything. And that's when I was at my son's football practice one day on the phone, like I was always on the phone, sitting in the bleachers, and that name just kept nagging at me.
Right.
And I didn't know what to do with it.
Okay.
So I always could count on Bernie to do what he does. So I called him first, called his people first.
Gotcha.
He was like into it immediately because at that time, if you read his book, he was kind of at a crossroads with his career. He didn't know what was going to go on with his career. And I called Cedric because I was doing all of Cedric's dates up to that point.
Gotcha.
I was his promoter.
Okay.
And I called Steve because I saw him on a HBO special. I had never seen him do comedy.
Oh, wow.
Saw him on an HBO special with his yellow suit. And I was like, hey, he could be a good addition.
Right.
And so I called him last.
Okay.
But I had the other two, got him.
That's right, because D.L. Hughley was
one
not.
person.
Okay, got it.
A lot of people don't know that. So.
Right.
That Bernie said in the GQ article that when he got Ocean's 11, Steve had reached out to the producer and said he thought he would be a better fit and tried to get the part.
To most people, it sounded like just another clap back, but to Boosie and Katt, it felt like a direct threat. And that's when everything blew up. Both went live, and the internet went crazy. Boosie sat in his car, smoke swirling, talking raw and unfiltered. Katt was somewhere quiet, calm, precise, but deadly with every word. Boosie kicked it off. Steve, stop capping, man. You ain't no street dude. You a talk show host. The only thing you swing is a mic. You talking about knocking folks out? Try knocking out them tired jokes instead. Then Katt came in smooth, almost whispering, Brother Steve, you too grown to be threatening people who never disrespected you. I called you out 'cause you're fake, not out of hate. There's a difference. He paused, looked straight into the camera, and said, you can't knock me out, Steve. Not in comedy, not in life, not even in spirit. So stop fighting for headlines. The chat erupted, comments flying, hearts flooding, fans taking sides. Steve never joined that live, but within hours, the clips were everywhere. The internet split with questions. Is Steve Harvey out here threatening folks now? Why does Katt keep exposing people? Boosie was just saying what a lot of folks already felt. Soon, other comedians jumped in. Some defended Steve, calling him a legend who earned his crown. Others sided with Katt and Boosie, saying they were finally speaking what everyone else was scared to. But here's the real truth. This wasn't just trash talk. It was a fight over power. Steve Harvey's got status, platforms, and big connections. Katt and Boosie, they've got the streets, the culture, the people. So this wasn't just about comedy, it was about control. Who really represents the voice of the people, the polished preacher or the raw truth teller? That's what made this moment hit so deep. When Steve dropped that knock you out line. It wasn't just some slick trash talk. It was a symbol of something way deeper, the clash between old Hollywood and new authenticity. Steve stands for the generation that believes in keeping order, guarding the gates, protecting the system. But Katt and Boosie? They're the rebels, the truth tellers who don't bow to anyone, calling out every fake smile in the game, and when those two worlds collide, it's never clean. Because Steve's image depends on respect. Katt and Boosie's image depends on realness. So when the real ones start exposing the respected ones, somebody's mask has to crack. Soon, the cracks started showing. Clips of Steve looking uneasy on his radio show went viral, fans saying he sounded defensive, maybe even guilty. Meanwhile, Katt and Boosie own the internet. Twitter dubbed them the Truth Squad. One tweet said, Boosie and Katt just tag team Steve Harvey. It's the culture versus the corporation. Another read. Steve Harvey talks too much about faith to be threatening folks. That's when the public mood shifted. For years, Steve had built his image as the calm, fatherly voice, wise, moral, respected. But now, the same audience that once praised him started questioning everything. People were asking, is this man truly humble? Or just hiding ego behind a clean suit? Boosie didn't back down either. He fired back days later, "Ain't no man threatening me," and walking away clean. "I don't care if you a comedian, a preacher, or a president. You say my name, I respond, period." Then he dropped the line that lit up the timeline. These TV dudes think they untouchable cause they on screen every day, but we the ones the people really listen to. And that line? That's the entire story in one sentence. Because this isn't just Steve versus Katt and Boosie, it's authenticity versus image. Who truly runs the mic, the man with the platform, or the one with the truth? Katt kept his composure, but when he spoke, it cut deep. "I don't fight men who wear makeup on camera," he said. "I fight hypocrisy." The internet erupted. Fire emojis, quotes, duets everywhere, because deep down, everyone knew. He wasn't lying. Then he dropped the bomb. "Steve Harvey once told me I'd never make it in Hollywood cause I was too real." Well, guess what? I'm still standing, and I never had to trade my soul to stay here. That line hit like a gut punch. Because no matter what the industry thinks of him, Katt's always had the people's respect by week's end. The story had taken over everything. Blogs, RADIO shows, gossip pages, even morning news segments. Steve stayed mostly silent, only letting a few sources whisper that he was disappointed and above childish back and forth, but his silence spoke louder than any statement. If Steve really had that same confidence he preaches, he would have faced them head-on. Instead, he went quiet, and the internet read it as surrender. Memes flooded every feed, Steve photoshopped with boxing gloves. Katt crowned still undefeated, and Boosie standing over a mic that read. The streets talking, it turned into a full-blown cultural moment, the underdogs checking the establishment right in front of the world. Let's keep it real. All three men are legends in their own lane. Steve opened doors. Katt spoke the truth. Boosie gave voice to the people. But once ego enters the ring, nobody leaves spotless. Even DL Hughley couldn't stay out of it. On his podcast, he said, "This is what happens when grown men stop talking and start performing," but fans didn't care about peace. They wanted the raw drama and the real truth. And Katt and Boosie delivered both. So what happens next? Maybe Steve finally claps back. Maybe they talk it out behind the scenes like men. Either way, one thing's clear. This whole saga exposed something deeper. People are done with fake wisdom. They're craving authenticity. They want truth, not polished speeches. Energy, not ego. And that's exactly what Katt and Boosie gave the world. By the end of it all, the internet already made its decision. They weren't cheering the loudest voices. They were saluting the ones who stood their ground. Boosie summed it up perfectly. You can't threaten what's real. All you do is expose yourself trying, and that's exactly what went down. Steve tried to flex his authority, and it backfired. Because this generation doesn't bow to polished power anymore. They ride with the ones who keep it raw. So yeah, maybe Steve Harvey thought he was checking Katt Williams and Boosie, but what he didn't realize is simple: you can't threaten truth. When you come for men built on honesty, the whole world sees who's real and who's rehearsed. Drop your thoughts below. Did Steve cross the line, or did Katt and Boosie take it too far? Whatever side you're on, hit that like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because this is Buzz and Drama, where truth doesn't hide and legends never bite their tongue.